Hello, fans of the FJ. Yeah, Patrick back again. Messing around with a speedometer cluster today. Instrument cluster. A dash. What I'm going to do is take it apart, clean up the glass, paint the frame, just give it a facelift, make it look a little better. Got everything disconnected, light bulbs out. Now where I begin is these little tabs right here on the top and on the sides right here. You got to bend those back a little bit, enough to be able to get this separated like this. And you can see inside of the cluster there, and then inside of there is a little sheet metal piece that comes around, and that's with your gauge identification there, and that one goes there. And then what I've already done is went ahead and peeled the glass portions out of their little rubber holes. What's going on is these little rubber frames that hold the glass in are glued in, and I've bought rubber channels similar to this before and made my own, but this time they're pretty good, so I left them in. Have to do a little bit of repair there with super glue and baking soda. And then there's the little grommet for the high beam, and then the little high beam grommet goes in like that, the little blue light with the little clip. And what I do is got to strip the paint off of here. I've already kind of started. These are like 5 colors. The original pewter color. Then there's orange, red, yellow, black. It looks like somebody actually brushed it on with super thick, like enamel paint. I mean, it's chipping right off. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and wire wheel that off. In the meantime, to clean up these gauges, little tiny brush, detail brush, you can get in there and brush just a little bit, and just get that little layer of dust off in there, and it actually brings them back pretty nice. You get them kind of cleaned up in there, and that way you can brush out. Be very, very careful though, because these little needles, ooh, they bend. Super easy. Then I'll kind of clean out down in there and get the back cleaned up a little bit. It's kind of rusty there. This is from that 65, so this thing is old. Well, I'm 54, so it's like 54 55 years old this year. Then what I do is the glass, old detailer secret, I take 4/0 steel wool and car wax, and that will buff out the glass like factory fresh. And then this you just clean up a little bit with a real light detail spray and some very soft cloths, because you don't want to wipe off the gauge facings there, the gauge markings. I'm actually not going to use these gauges. I'm putting an aftermarket wiring kit in it, and I'm going to use modern gauges in a new part of the dash that you'll see soon coming up. So these 4 down here will just be obsolete. Still use the speedometer because I want to kind of maintain some of the originality of the FJ40. So first things first, get this cleaned up a little bit and see how it goes. Alright, got this cleaned up, back to metal. One thing I was going to mention, when you bend back these little tabs, take your time and be very, very, very careful. You can see it'll bring up this on the edge a little bit, but if you are bending too much on this edge and not that little lip, it'll start to pinch and crinkle in there on this fascia edge, and that's super hard to repair. So just take your time, bend back those little tabs oh so carefully. Don't get grabby with pliers or anything. There's my steel wool and my car wax that I'm using. You can see this piece of glass is before, and here's a little piece of glass after. Almost can't see it. It's like invisible. So yeah, it's just 4/0 steel wool and regular car wax and a little bit of microfiber towel, and get those pieces of glass looking like brand new. All right, got a layer of high build primer on the cover, the face there. Give that a couple minutes and shoot it black. Got that cleaned up. Well, get my camera turned. Cleaned out pretty good. Got that cleaned up. Just kind of wipe that down with a real soft cloth. No chemicals or nothing. Don't want to disrupt that paint in there. It's old. Oh, so you just want to kind of make it look a little bit cleaner, nicer, newer. Like the gauges there. Not really much I can do with that. You know, there's guys that repaint those and stuff, and God bless them, and rebuild those gauges, because that is an art form. But this is just a general kind of facelift. Clean it up, make it look good. Just want to show you, I made a new wiring loom for the 3 light bulbs that go in the dash, and made a little test rig here to see if they work. So just try each one of them against the negative. That works. That works. And that works. Make sure they're all working before they go in. Make sure everybody's happy. Anyways, those are the 3 lights for the instrument cluster and the speedometer. Little loom I made for them. Well, there's the bezel painted. So wait a few minutes, let it dry a little bit, shoot it with some clear coat, and go from there. Well, there it is, temporarily installed. It's just in there for mock-up purposes right now, but it's pretty good. I'm happy with it. Got a little chip on it, putting it back together on the top. And stupid paint, you have to wait a week now to repaint it or touch up the paint. So anyways, that's what it looks like all installed. Get the glove box doors done. Getting that panel made right now for the center with the gauges. And that'll pretty much button up the dash.